everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Books with Natasa. And today I have another video for you guys, and this one I'm quite excited to talk about, so let's just get straight into it. Hi, this is me from the future, me while I'm editing, so excuse everything. I just want to say that I did talk about From Blood and Ice series slash Fast and Fire series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, but a clip went missing, so I'm so sorry about that. But this series is definitely my favorite list of the year. I love this so much, but I'm sorry that I can the clip went missing. I'm so sorry, but if you guys want to hear my thoughts on these books, please check out my blog. I have reviews posted from it for each and every one of these books. I'm gonna talk about all of my favorite books of 2022 in order. So get ready for my ranking. This ranking was quite difficult to decide because I read quite a lot of new favorite books this year. I had so much fun. I started and finished new series. I met so many new characters, so many new couples, and it was such a difficult thing to decide. But my first book that I want to talk about and my least favorite of this list basically is Throne of Glass series. Now I'm currently reading Kingdom of Ash. I'm about 30%, no, 50% through it, and I'm having so much fun. I started it last night and I just needed to read until basically I rescue. But then afterwards I kept reading because it was so good. But then I decided to take a break because it was again super late, so I'm gonna continue it today. But I'm getting sidetracks here. But yeah, I started this series October, I think, maybe September, not too long ago, and I'm almost done with it. And it has been quite a journey because this series has had such a complicated relationship with me for as long as I can remember, because I really wanted to read it because of all the hype surrounding it. But then I tried to read Buddy Throne of Glass with some friends back in March, I believe. And I really didn't click with it. I didn't care about the characters, the story, anything. So I decided I'm gonna give it another try, and if still I don't like it, I'm gonna DNF the series, and no regrets there. It wasn't just for me. So I decided to read Throne of Glass, and I did. I read it with the audiobook to help me, and I ended up finishing it. I gave the first book 3.75 out of 5 stars. It was good. I really liked Selena's character. I didn't like her relationship with Dorian, but there is that. So keep in mind that there will be spoilers for Throne of Glass series here, but I am really sorry, but this is a whole series, so I can really talk about my thoughts without spoiling some stuff. But yeah, then I decided I was gonna just jump straight into Crown of Midnight because my bestie Alisa told me that I need to read at least until book 3 and then make up my mind about the series. So I continued. I did really like Carol in the first 3 books, but later in the later books as well. He's one of my favorite characters, and I did like the romance between them, but I enjoyed the friendship even more. The mystery was quite interesting. The lore was surprisingly easy to follow, even though this is a Sarah J. Maas book and she writes mythology quite big mythology. And yeah, I ended up loving Crown of Midnight. I gave it like or 4.7. I'm sorry. 4.75 or 4.5 stars. And then we got to Air of Fire. This one I was the most excited and the most scared to read because I knew that many people said this book had the most character development, which I am down for, but it was also super slow, so many people didn't like that part of it. But for me, I thought that the pacing was perfect. I love this book so much. I love Selena's journey emotionally in this one, how deep her grief went into this, and how she grew into a different person. And basically, and here we also meet Rowan, one of my all-time favorite characters, and I love their banter, how they understand each other. They are definitely one of my favorite couples out there. And yeah, basically I actually ended up adoring Airfire, 5 out of 5 stars. Then, oh my god, I read Assassin's Blade, and many of you know that this book is filled with heartbreak, and I don't disagree. At first, I was like two stories in, and I was like, I really like Sam, but I don't really connect with this at the moment. But then, as soon as we went to the final two stories, I was a sobbing mess. I couldn't stop crying. I was crying full on tears while I was writing my review on Goodreads. Never such a book traumatized me so badly. And yeah, just talking about it, my heart breaks for Sam and Selena. They were so good together, and not to say that I don't love Rowan, but their relationship was like super special, and it had a super traumatizing end, and I'm just still not over that. Next, I continue with Queen of Shadows, and again 5 out of 5 stars. This has to be my favorite book in the series so far. I love the closure that we got in Selena and Sam's story. I love the progression with Rowan and Eileen. Oh my god, I keep saying Selena because of the first book, but now it's Eileen, so anyway. But yeah, also I love watching the group finally come together in this one. I really didn't like how Kale treated Eileen when she came back from Donatella, I believe. And yeah, he was a jerk, but I understand that he was hurting and dealing with a lot. But yeah, that book definitely is my favorite. I loved it so much. Next, we got Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, which I read at the same time. I found a guide online which told me how to read it chapter by chapter, and I think this is the best way to read it because it's not really a problem. It's just added one POV, one extra POV more than the previous book, so I didn't think it was an issue for me. But yeah, I ended up loving Tower of Dawn so much. I gave it like 4 or 5 stars. I felt like Kale really needed this book for the story and show his character development and how he managed to overcome and all the grief and darkness that has swallowed him whole, basically from the events that happened in previous books. And he's finally happy even though we are in the middle of a war. And Empire of Stones left me traumatizing. I was crying at the last 100 pages for about an hour and a half while reading it. I was a sobbing mess again when I finished it, but I knew that I couldn't jump straight into Kingdom of Us because one of my most anticipated releases was about to come out, so I hold off on that. So yeah, now I started Kingdom of Us, and again, this has so much stuff has happened in the 300 pages that I have read so far, and the battle is insane. Also, I love how we got to see Rowan and Eileen be together again, but there is also a lot of psychological trauma from the stuff that Eileen has been through for the last few months. Also, I have a theory that it's going to be Dorian, that is going to make the sacrifice, but I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I hope that it happens, even though I really like Dorian, but Eileen and Roy deserve a life together, and I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait for the entire group to be reunited with Aedion and everyone, and basically just start the freaking war already. But yeah, that is my overall thoughts. I know I've been talking for a while, but yeah. Next is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asser. Many of you know that I read this series maybe summertime, I'm not sure. But yeah, I had read Throttle Book 1 a while back and ended up really loving it. But I didn't push to read the next books immediately after finishing it But then one of my favorite YouTubers, Larry Reeds, I will put her account down below, posted a TikTok, I think, about it, and just talking about the tropes, and I was really interested, so I started reading Collided, and I was crying in the prologue, and that has never happened to me before. And also, I really did connect with Liam's and Sophie's story. I really did like them, and I gave it like 4.75 or 5 stars, I'm not sure. But then we got to Wreck, which is Jackson and Elena's book, and this one had a bit sweet ending. I mean, we had a happy ending, but it was also on borrowed time something situation. But I didn't mind it one bit because it was so them. And yeah, I won't talk about the series too much because I have talked about it a lot in my previous videos. But yeah, my favorite book in the series has to be the last one, which is Redeemed, which is Santiago's and Chloe's book. This one was such a special book for me because Santiago has been into an accident in the beginning of the book, and he's struggling a lot. He's depressed. He barely moves. He feels like he doesn't live, basically, and that's where Chloe literally falls from the sky and brings him back to life, basically, with her jokes, and she makes him feel things that he never had felt before, and that is just the sweetest thing ever. But yeah, this series has been one of my all-time favorites, and I love how we got to see these extra epilogues, and we got to see their kids together, so I'm really hoping for a next-gen series with these characters and the children. It will be just incredible. But yeah, next is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, and I know many of you aren't surprised by this, by the many times I have reread it and talked about it in this channel, so I won't talk about it a lot because I have already done so. But yeah, this is a really good age gap Grumpy Sunshine romance, and it's definitely one of my favorites, also single parent, and it's definitely one of my favorites out there. Mariana Zapata is such a slow burn romance genius, and I love all her books that I have read by her. I still haven't read Lukov, Dear Aaron, and Under Lock, but I will definitely get to those soon. But yeah, and here we have Aurora, who just moved back home, where she used to live with her mother years ago because she just finalized her divorce and was the first start. And she plans to move into this upper level apartment from a garage that she rented for the summer. And when she gets there, this grumpy neighbor is like, "What the hell are you doing on my property? This is my house. I never invited you. I'm not renting this." So yeah. Basically, there's a misunderstanding because his teenage son Amos put out the ad about the apartment. So yeah, she ended up living there for a while, and they become closer. And she breaks down his walls because he really doesn't trust anyone around his son, and he doesn't have time for relationships. But something about her just draws her to him, and they are just so perfect together and so sweet, and I love it to death. We have a manga series, and there's Demon Slayer, and many of you have already heard of this before, but Demon Slayer is one of my favorite animes and mangas. I love the story, the characters, everything about it. I have rewatched the anime so many times. I am planning a rewatch again soon, and the season 3 is taking forever to come out, and I just need it because I'm this close to start rereading the manga again, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. But yeah, this story is so special for me. It's like it's my comfort anime. I watch it when I'm feeling down because these characters are so funny, sweet, and it brings out the child in me, which I love. And yeah, and my favorite episode of season 1 has to be episode 19, I believe. There's this scene where Zero is trying to save Nezuko from this upper level demon, and when he discovers Hinokami Kagura breathing, and that is just like my favorite scene of all time. I love it so much. The songs, everything about it gave me chills, and I had so much fun watching this anime. I remember the first time watching, I was like so shocked when Michael Jackson showed up. I was like, he's gonna show up in later seasons, maybe because I had that's what happens with TV shows. So yeah, I was new to anime and I didn't know a lot of stuff. So when he appeared, I was like, oh shit, it's the villain, and I was like, just like Tanjiro was like white eyes, and I was like, what? So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Also, I love meeting the Hashira, and I can't wait to get to know them more in the next the next seasons. But yeah, next we have Wait for It by Mariana Zapata, and many of you already know about this already. But Wait for It is another Mariana Zapata favorite from me. It's a single parent, not really grumpy sunshine, but neighbor situation. But yeah, Diana has moved in with her nephews in a new house, and that's where she meets Dallas, he's her neighbor. She helps out his brother that got into a fight and basically got trapped in the street. So yeah, they meet, but she makes the mistake of thinking that she is coming on to him, and he has a thing for that. He doesn't like it, so they don't get off in the right foot. But then they clear out the air and they become like super close. There is a friends to lover situation. They become super close, and they become best friends basically. But then Dallas is like, I need to take care of this my divorce, and so I can convince you that even though I'm married to this woman that I had never loved and still remain faithful, imagine how I will be when I love this woman with all my heart. And I love that so much. The kids, Josh and the little one, were adorable. I love them to death. I have read so many times this book. Also, the story about Diana's brother really broke my heart because we got to see him in previous books, especially with Wally in Winnipeg, and he has such a close relationship with Diana. And how he died was just heartbreaking, and I was just not ready for that. So yeah, I love this book so much. Definitely read it. Next, we have another favorite manga series of mine, and that is Sasaki to Miyano by Shuharu Sono. And this one has 9 volumes out so far. It's a chapter by chapter update each month, and it's killing me. And many of you know that this is a BL, fluffy, cute romance manga. And one of my favorites. There is also an anime out there with 12 episodes, and there is going to be a movie which is going to animate my all-time favorite chapter, and we're also going to get Hirana Kagiura movie. Obviously not sure yet, it's not an official situation, but yeah, this just makes me so happy. This anime brings all the laughs for me. I love the characters. They are just so hilarious, so cute, and I love watching them interact with one another. I am dying each time Sasaki and Miyano have a romantic scene. I'm screaming and in the manga where they're kissing and do a lot of more romantic stuff. They are just the cutest, and I love them so to death. And I'm not sure what else I can say, but you guys definitely read it. If you want a cute fluffy romance, this is perfect for you. But keep in mind there aren't many volumes out there, and so you're gonna have to endure the torture with me. Now, this next book I read quite recently, like a few days ago, but I needed to add to this list, and that is What Was Meant to Be by QB Tyler. She wrote a book in the Blurred Lines series, but this is a standalone, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorite books of the year, and books of all time in general. But I have reread this book already 2 times, and I love it so much. We have an age gap, forbidden romance, godfather, goddaughter situation, and a second chance. I love second chance romance, as many of you know, when done right. But yeah, in this one we have Whitney and JP. They used to date for about 3 years back when she was 19, and JP stands for Jacob Price. JP decided to break up with her because he felt like she was too young and he didn't have the guts to talk to her parents how they were feeling and stuff, so they broke both their hearts and he went to Mexico for a job to give her time and space to move on, basically. Fast forward to present day, I think 3 years later, he comes back from Mexico and when she hears that is engaged to be married soon, so he wants to meet this guy and wants to try and win back Whitney. But as soon as they meet again, sparks fly and all their feelings are still there. They're super attached to one another, and he sees that Whitney is not happy with the guy. This guy is just the worst. He's controlling, he's pushy, he's the worst. He has cameras all over the house watching her when he's away, and he's the worst. But yeah, just a warning, there is cheating in this book, but I didn't really mind it in the situation because the guy was a jerk and I mean it. But yeah, I highly recommend reading it, even if cheating is triggering for you, because this one is just so worth it. But yeah, we continue, but they decide to talk about what happened, but Whitney is just feeling so overwhelmed because she still has feelings for JP, but she's not ready to acknowledge them because she is afraid that he's gonna leave again and break her heart, and this time she's not gonna take it. But yeah, some things happen and they end up getting back together, and she decides she's going to break up with Parker, break up the engagement, because nothing will ever top her relationship with JP. They are so close, so honest, so in tune with one another. They're just amazing. But something happens and she can do it, so she's postponing it until she's able to do it. When she does do it, the guy basically explodes and he's like, I'm gonna get back at you, and I'm not gonna say how he does it, but the way he does it is cruel and vindictive and just the worst. So yeah, we have a happy ending situation here, and I love this book so much, and I expected nothing less from Cubic Tyler. She's one of my favorite authors, but still this one just perfection. And it was such a surprise for me because I didn't hear any news about it, but I am on Cubic Tyler's ARC list, so she sent me an early copy to review, and as soon as I land on my Kindle, I post everything that I was reading and dive straight into that one, and I have no regrets. It was so good, 5 out of 5 stars. Next is the Jameson Valley series by David Perry. Many of you know about this series already. I can't stop talking about it. It's a 6-book series, small town romance, interconnecting standalone, but it's good that if you read them by order because the characters are connected with one another quite a bit, and events that happen in the first book actually impact a lot of the characters. So it's good if you read it in order. So yeah, first book is single parent hate to love situation. Next we have second sense, third again second sense, and friends to lovers. Next we have, I'm not sure what trope that forced proximity trope, and then we have single parent again, and lastly it's soulmates. So yeah, this is just incredible. The series is amazing. I'm not gonna talk about it a lot because I have already talked every single one of these books all over my channel, but be sure to check them out. They are so good, and David Perry is just a small town romance queen. And the book number 2 in my list is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is book number 2 in Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And many of you know that this book was my most anticipated release of the year, and I have to say I'm not disappointed. This book broke me and I will never be the same again. I need book 3 like yesterday, and I'm so happy that Stephanie Garber has announced that she's going to write a 3rd book, and I think it's going to be the last one, but there aren't any set news so far. That is just my opinion. But yeah, I'm going to try not to spoil you because this is the 2nd book in the series, but yeah. I'll just say a bit about the first book and give you my thoughts overall. So in the first book we have an Evangeline who basically grew up believing in happy ever after, but when her boyfriend Luke ends up getting engaged to her sister, she believes that she has put a spell on him, so she goes to find the Prince of Hearts, believing that because he's the fate of heartbreak, that he will understand her, but she knows nothing about it, but he ends up tricking her and she is turned to stone. Then fast forward a few years later, after the events of the Caraval books, we see how much Jack's personality has changed, but still Evangeline doesn't trust him. But yeah, they end up crossing paths again when she goes to the north for a job for the queen. As we know, our queen is Stella and she can go to the north because Jax is gonna be there and there is this whole situation. But yeah, she meets Jax again and she still has the tattoo embedded of her wrist because they had made a deal together. So she needs to give 3 kisses whenever he says. So yeah. Then the events start to happen and it's incredible, it's amazing. Jax and Evangeline are so amazing together. There are a few scenes in book 1, but there are so many more scenes in book 2. And we get to see how Jax is feeling by the end of book 2, but then it's too late and it's the worst feeling ever. Finally, my top favorite book of this year, and that is Hunting and Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. And this is a duology, got a mouse to it, but as many of you know by now. And this is a dark romance stalker, so many trigger warnings, keep in mind that. And it's definitely my favorite of the year. It took some convincing between this one and what was meant to be by Kobe Tyler. And I decided that this was it because I do love Jade and Adeline so much. I have read this book so many times, and this book traumatized me so much, especially book number 2. I haven't never read such a dark romance before, and it completely took me by surprise. I had so much fun reading it, even though this book was quite big. It didn't bother me at all. I finished them in a heartbeat, and yeah, I had so much fun, and I can't wait to read the next book by S.T. Carlton and see how I feel about it. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk about this anymore because I did talk about it a lot in previous videos. But Addie moves back into her grandmother's house after she died and left her in her will this house. This house is haunted, it's like a gothic manor, and Addie always loved danger. And then Jade sees her and he's like insta obsessed with her. He doesn't have the best reactions when men touch her or kiss her or stuff, so he gets super possessive, super jealous, and I love that. Also, we see a lot, there's a side plot that with human trafficking and stuff that takes place in book 2 a lot more. But yeah, if you're not okay with all that stuff, definitely check out the trigger warning. It's like a page long. Definitely do that because it's good to be safe. Wow, I have been talking for a while, but I had so much fun talking about all this book with you guys. So yeah, like, subscribe, stick around, and I will see you for my next video tomorrow. Bye!